We continue now with our series looking at faith in the forces. Tonight we focus on the home front, where some families say having a spiritual outlook on life helps them cope with the challenges they face.
Lady Janet, whose husband is head of the army, tells us how her Christian beliefs have strengthened her through years of keeping the home fires burning. She's also president of the Army Families Federation and says the military could do much more to prevent the breakdown of marriages.
To me personally, having a live faith is important. It adds a different dimension, and I particularly can't really imagine how I would have coped with all the stresses and strains of the military life without that faith. People do, but for me it's a really sort of essential ingredient, I guess, of who I am. I know how difficult it is, because actually everybody assumes that, you know, Richard and I have always been in this elevated place that we are now. That isn't true. I married Richard when I was 22, he was 25, and we had some really tough calls when we were younger. 3 small children, then eventually 4 small children, but some lonely times when Richard was away, and there is always that real fear of a knock at the door, and one can't get away from that. I don't think it's any easier necessarily if you're a Christian. That same fear is there, but I think there's the knowledge that you won't be dealing with it on your own, that there's a stronger force that will be taking away some of the pain, anxiety for you.
The Armed Forces Christian Union says it's finding an openness to spiritual issues today that wasn't around 20 years ago, despite the fact more people probably went to church then. And it runs practical initiatives to help shoulder the burden on families.
In Germany, we will have a weekend, there might be 30 or 40 wives that come together. Many of their husbands are away on operations. And what we do is we encourage them. We look after their children for them. We give them a break. We help them share about what is going on in their lives. You know, sometimes people just need to offload what is on their heart. When the men go off on operations, in some ways there can be an adrenaline rush. It's what they're trained to do. There's an element of excitement in it. But for the wives, you know, they're having to run the home, routine, sometimes mundane things that they're having to do, and it can be difficult.
An increasing casualty of war is the military marriage. Lady Janet, who's a relate counsellor, is incensed that husbands and wives don't get free relationship support in the UK, but they do in BFG.
In England, apart from one free session, we're looking at upwards of £40, £45, £50 a session. I know of no other country. I mean, when I've been out in the States or out in Australia, they find it absolutely incomprehensible that we allow these young men and women to return from the front line, and then we're expecting them to pay for their own relationship counselling. The expertise is out there, the funding isn't, and I feel passionately that that relationship counselling should be free for as long as it takes to every single one of our families in the UK, in the same way as it is in Germany.
Everyone agrees dependents have it tough, but whatever your belief, or none at all, you're not alone. Julie Knox, BFBS reports.